Wow. Oh my god. Taehyung's movements in BTS's latest MV make the world fall silent. Hello ARMY. Welcome back to the BTS fans channel. This time I don't want you to just watch. I want you to truly feel it, not just with your eyes but with something deeper than that. Because what happens in BTS's latest music video is not something easy to explain. This isn't about who is the strongest. It's not about who is the fastest. This is about who can make time stop. And once again that name appears, Kim Taehyung. At the beginning of the video, everything feels as expected, clean formations, smooth transitions, and energy that builds from start to finish. Everything looks perfect. But slowly, that perfection starts to feel like a background. Because without warning, there is one presence that changes the way you see everything. Taehyung. He doesn't enter with an explosion, nor with big movements that immediately demand attention. Instead, he arrives quietly, almost like a shadow. And that's exactly where everything shifts. Look closer. The way he takes his first step, not rushed, not trying to stand out, but every step feels certain, as if he already knows the world will come to him without him needing to chase it. As the music begins to grow, his body starts to speak. Not just moving but expressing something. There is emotion you cannot clearly see, yet somehow you can feel it. There is a story that is never spoken, yet somehow you understand it. In one moment the camera moves closer, and that's when everything becomes more intense. Not because his movements suddenly change, but because you begin to notice the details, the small things you may have missed before. The way his fingers tense slightly, then relax again with the flow of the music. The way he controls his breathing, as if every second has already been lived before it even happens. And the strongest of all, his gaze. Not a gaze that asks for attention, but a gaze that cannot be ignored. As if he's not looking at the camera, but at something far deeper than that. And in that moment you stop. Completely stop. Not because the video pauses, but because your mind does. The more you try not to focus on him, the harder it becomes. Because Taehyung never tries to take attention. He simply exists as himself. And that alone changes everything. In a world of K-pop filled with powerful energy, sharp movements, and intense expressions, Taehyung chooses a different path. He chooses calmness. He chooses control. He chooses not to do too much, but to give meaning to every small thing he does. And the result? Every small movement feels bigger than anything else. There is a moment that may only last a few seconds, but the impact stays much longer. As the music approaches its climax, the others increase their intensity. Movements become faster, stronger. The energy rises, but Taehyung doesn't fully follow that wave. He holds back, slightly slower, slightly deeper, and that contrast creates something unexpected. In the middle of all that explosive energy, he becomes the point of stillness. And somehow, that's exactly where everyone looks again. Maybe that's the real power. It's not about being the most visible, but being the most felt. Because while others try to fill the space, Taehyung fills the silence. And that silence speaks louder than anything. It lingers in a way that noise never could. It settles into your mind quietly but completely. As the video nears its end, you begin to realize something. You are no longer watching as a casual viewer. You start noticing the small details. The way his gaze shifts, almost like he's telling a story without words. The subtle tension in his movements, as if every motion carries intention. You find yourself replaying certain parts, searching for meaning in every expression. And without realizing it, you are already pulled into the world he creates. A world not filled with noise but filled with feeling. A world where even the smallest gesture feels significant. Where silence isn't empty, but full of emotion waiting to be understood. When the screen finally fades to black, it doesn't feel finished. It doesn't feel like enough. Instead, you feel the need to go back, not to see something new but to feel it again. To understand what you might have missed. To catch the details that slipped through the first time. To feel how one person can shift the entire atmosphere without changing much at all. Now be honest with yourself. How many times have you watched that MV? And out of everything in it, why does Taehyung's part always feel different? Why does every movement leave a trace? Why does the world feel quieter when he begins to move? Why does time seem to slow down, even if only for a few seconds? Maybe this isn't just about dance, nor just about performance. This is about someone who understands presence in its purest form. who doesn't need to demand attention because attention naturally finds him. And when someone is truly present, the world has no choice but to pause and notice. Kim Taehyung doesn't just dance. He doesn't just perform. He doesn't just exist as part of a global group called BTS. In that moment, he becomes something more. Something that lingers beyond the frame. Something that stays with you even after the music stops. Something that cannot be explained by technique and cannot be measured by numbers. Something that can only be felt when you truly pay attention. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. Once you see him, you can't unsee him. And maybe that's why, in the middle of all the movement, all the music, and all the perfection, the world still chooses to slow down, to listen, to feel, and ultimately to fall silent for Kim Taehyung. It is in these quiet, stolen moments that we realize the true essence of his artistry. Taehyung does not merely follow the beat. He inhabits it, creating a sanctuary of sound and motion where every breath feels like a deliberate choice. When the world demands more noise, more speed, more spectacle, he offers the opposite. He offers a vulnerability that is so raw and so grounded that it becomes his greatest strength. It is a rare kind of magnetism that doesn't scream for your attention, but rather pulls you in with the gravity of a star, steady and unavoidable. Watching him, you begin to understand that he is not just performing for a crowd, but communicating with a soul. There is a sense of timelessness in the way he moves, as if he is tapping into an ancient language of emotion that transcends modern trends. While the industry often prizes the newest and the loudest, Taehyung remains a master of the classic and the profound. He reminds us that true impact is not measured by how many eyes are on you, but by how many hearts are moved by your existence. This is the V effect in its most potent form, a transformation of the ordinary into the extraordinary through the power of presence. Even when he is standing still, the space around him feels charged with meaning, as if the air itself is waiting for his next expression. His ability to command a stage with a single tilt of his head or a micro-expression in his eyes is a testament to a level of mastery that few ever achieve. He has turned the act of being observed into a form of high art, where every frame is a masterpiece of intention and grace. As you dive deeper into this analysis, you see that his influence extends far beyond the duration of a music video. It lingers in the way we perceive beauty, in the way we value slow, meaningful connections in a fast-paced world. Taehyung has become a symbol of artistic courage, the kind that isn't afraid to be silent in a room full of shouting. He teaches us that there is a profound power in restraint, and that sometimes the most memorable stories are the ones told in whispers, hidden in the subtle curves of a movement or the depth of a silent gaze. Ultimately, we are left with a feeling of profound gratitude. Gratitude for an artist who isn't afraid to let us see the stillness in his soul. In the end, the latest BTS music video is more than just a musical achievement. It is a canvas for Kim Taehyung to remind us what it means to be truly human, to be present, and to be unforgettable. So, as the music fades and the lights go down, let the silence settle in. Let yourself feel the weight of what you've just witnessed. Because in a world that never stops moving, we all need a moment to fall silent for someone as extraordinary as him.